close one door to make it
Yeah.
just a little bit tighter. Obviously, that one's gotta be open.
Can we go before we don't answer people? Speak, we're not having a conversation.
No, you just have open forum, people can make their statements at the beginning.
You say thank
That
you.
is up to Mary Beth to discuss how she wants to have this
Right.
flow. She's got the power. It's 8:59.
I didn't get one of these. Yeah, I don't know. I got so much paperwork here, it's probably buried in here somewhere.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right.
Did you get the other one?
Yes, well, then we can bring it up.
Oh,
You want more?
of the other sheet.
Oh, gotcha.
Of this, I wrote on my,
Oh.
yours.
But this is just for us. so-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just for us, never mind.
Okay.
9:00.
I went back to go to all the printers, but nothing's happening yet, so.
Okay.
That's fine, as long as we have it.
Is the green light
Yeah, that's
on?
Yeah.
Green light, it is on. If you wanna speak and let it know that we're gonna wait.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. We're gonna wait a few minutes, about another 5 minutes, give some folks a chance that are coming to the meeting to come in as the city opens at 9 a.m.
Okay, this is over here.
We'll wait 2 more minutes.
Okay.
There's some folks said they were gonna come.
Yeah, we're just waiting a couple
Just in
more minutes.
case.
Right.
Just in case.
People give you a heads up or something.
Just wait till 9:05. Okay, good morning again, everyone. Thank you for being here. We are meeting the Administration Committee meeting today, Friday, July 29th at 9 a.m., second floor conference room, City of Berwyn. Agenda as forward. Do I have to do a roll call?
Two.
Open forum? Okay. Open forum. No questions? Okay, moving forward, call to order.
Alderman Leisure, report.
Robert Reyes, City Attorney.
Jim Moywood, second ward.
Alicia Ruiz, Sixth Ward Alderman.
Ruth Seattle Green, City Administrator.
Scott Lennon, First Ward Alderman.
Mary Beth Arenella, seventh ward alderman.
Thank you.
Okay, so. Sorry, I have so much paperwork here. I lost my agenda here. Oh, here we go, I'm sorry. Okay. So stemming from an incident involving a City of Berwyn employee matter, which was recently disclosed via media channels, it is imperative our city reevaluates the standing policies and procedures to ensure an equitable, safe, and inclusive work culture is promoted and supported. The remarks being reported is something I personally absolutely do not condone or would ever use in any setting nor support. As the Aldermanic Administrative Committee Chair, I have called an Administrative Emergency Committee meeting for this morning to discuss the following proposed recommendations. So I have proposed that every employee take a DEI training, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion training. In that, I want to make sure that we also get some de-escalation in there. I am proposing that they be in person. I want 2 half-day sessions. I feel that it's super important for it to be in person. This online stuff, or I don't mind the webinars. I think that initially for the first year, everybody should do in person, and then thereafter, we can do webinars. I don't want those other just online click and go. I think it should be in person or live with a person via webinar. So initially, in person, 2 half-day sessions, thereafter, webinar, DEI training every year across the board for everyone. I know that the police department, they have some federally mandated trainings that they do with DEI. But we also have other employees in the police department that do not do that, so they will be doing this training as well. So I think that's one of the main trainings that we need to implement is the diversity, equity, and inclusion training. Also, another suggestion that I had was a resident form. So resident form is, they come into City Hall, they have an issue, they feel they've been treated some kind of way, then there will be a form in front, and that resident can fill out that form, address their concerns, or state the issue that occurred. But they, no anonymous, they have to own it, name, address, so that we can properly address the issue. That makes our employees more accountable, and also the community. So within this, I know that Alderman Lennon has also something that will kind of tie in with this resident form. You wanna speak to
So
that?
we look at an incident report form, so if there's any employee that experiences an issue throughout the day with either a customer, a resident, a contractor, or whatever, that if they experience something that they deem that needs to be put on an incident report, they should write that down and give that to their supervisor. And I would say the same thing as if we get a resident that puts, basically fills out a form and they were dissatisfied with the service they had at City Hall, those really at that point need to go to the manager of that group so they can address it and see what went on. So it's really important on both ends that communication is there, but we follow up on it. And if it needs to be followed up by more than the supervisor, manager, director, or whatever, then we go from there. But it needs to escalate up so we can look at how people are being treated when they come in and how employees are being treated as well.
So the community has an opportunity to fill out their form, and so does the employee. They can fill it out against the employee can fill it out against the community member, contractor, whatever it may be. Now this other, so that's one thing. The other form is just any general complaints that the community has coming into City Hall. So I just want to touch back on the DEI training. I had a meeting with the communications. So I have to say that the communications department was in communication with someone from Perspectives in regards to DEI training back in April. We met with this individual via Zoom. Her name is Stephanie Jackson. She's the senior account manager. And I'll read a little bit on her bio. She was great. We met for about an hour via Zoom. And so she is the DEI liaison. She is accomplished, results-oriented leader with over 25 years of experience directing large-scale projects, both governmental and business and industry. She has over 15 years of experience managing the operations of contact/call centers in both EAP and managed care settings with one of the largest healthcare systems in Tampa Bay area. In her trajectory as a DEI expert, she has provided counseling, coaching, support around diversity and inclusion issues with a variety of populations over the past 25 years. Creating and executing numerous workshops, webinars, and panel discussions around diversity and inclusion. She is skilled in developing webinars on transgenerational trauma, as well as courageous conversations, lifting Black voices, grief and racial trauma, and mental and Black lives that were presented to college students, faculty, and staff at local colleges as part of a series of presentations to educate and encourage individuals who want to become active in supporting their communities. These presentations has resulted in effectively initiating deeper conversations and generated a safe forum for individuals to learn and communicate with each other. So I was really impressed by her. She was very nice, very articulate, very passionate about what she does. So I think that she will guide us in the right way with our diversity, equity, and inclusion training for all. So I just wanted to give a little background on that. And then, so the last bullet point I have is that we reevaluate and assess current disciplinary actions included in all the unions. Again, we need to reevaluate and assess the current disciplinary actions included in all of our unions. So we're talking AFSCME, Teamsters, 705, SEIU, Local 506, and IMPA. Is that correct? So those are all our unions that I think that we need to assess the disciplinary actions moving forward.
And this is a good time for that because many of our union contracts are coming up this year. So we can really kind of set the tone for the future ones that we're going out to look at as well. And if we have to, we probably could look at going and doing an amendment on maybe some of the other union contracts that we're not doing.
Yep. So I think we have 4 out of the 5 that will be up this year, so then we can try to get some stuff done there. So I got a ton of information as well from this company for the DEI. She sent over a ton of resources, really good information, implicit bias, tons of information on de-escalating, communicating for success, de-escalating. So I was really, really impressed by that. Another thing is, of course, in light of this incident, there definitely needs to be reform, right? So we can do that.
I think the other thing we need to focus on with management as well is customer service skills in general. And that's when you talked about de-escalation. How do we de-escalate a situation in an employee? So really look at the customer service skills that we provide here at City Hall or throughout the city in general.
So that's one of the notes that I have here for future. I think that every employee should take customer service. I get tons of PD, so I'm big on PD. So I think that every employee should also have customer service. But I have to check with our finance department, see how our finances are as far as for training, and then we can take that next step. We'll also make employees do that.
If you could,
Oh, yes, go ahead.
if you could just go ahead and as a committee, just think about what a list of the most important trainings, like most important all the way to the least important. As you mentioned, the PD, they do have their federal and
Right.
state mandated
Right.
classes and training that they have to do. The library does lots of training themselves.
Right.
They close their building a few days of the year and they just do trainings for all their employees.
Right.
So over there, and then obviously the fire department has their regular trainings, but those are more towards the fire paramedic field, probably not so much towards, they haven't done the DEI training yet.
No, they have not.
So if, as a committee or commission, you could help guide me in what you feel is most important. So
Yeah,
that way we can start implementing one at a time, and then I can go start with exactly what you deem the most important.
Yeah, I know that currently we all do the sexual harassment and discrimination, and then I know we have a technology part that we have to do every year
For
too.
cybersecurity, yeah.
Correct, but I think most importantly right now is the DEI, and again, in person, I feel it's super important. I did a DEI, a 2-day retreat on DEI, and it was amazing. And the reason why I am saying 2 half-days is because when you go to a session like that, and you leave and you come back, it gives you time to reflect. And you come back with, an open mind and with more questions, and you don't feel so pressured and everything being in one day. So I think it's super important that we don't rush through that. So that's why 2 half-days is ideal.
Could we, is it possible to have something, like with all the resources you have and all of that, something that, almost like a library that we could refer to, maybe a link to watch a webinar or something whenever we're.
So our EAP, our Employee Assistance Program.
Correct. So on a monthly basis,
Yes.
I actually send out to our employees,
Yeah.
our EAP provider, which is Perspectives.
Yes.
We've had them for about 5 years now. That is available to every single city employee. And it's also offered to their families in case there's trauma or something happening in the family. It's provided to all of them. And within the links that I send, it gives yearly webinars by month. And then they also cover different topics, everything from customer service they've dealt with, also personal matters, how to if you're living with an older person like your parents, that there's aging, how to deal with that.
Right.
Managing, during COVID, it was how to manage children when you have to go to work. And thank you,
One big house.
thank you.
So waiting on.
We'll get copies for everyone.
Also, you know, IML, I know that Alicia has taken some stuff through IMLL. They have something coming up, in fact, in September, they have a conference, right?
Correct.
September.
Yes,
Oh, yes,
September.
I've been to.
Yes.
But that's mostly for elected officials.
Right.
That's, yeah.
Right, right.
So that's for elected officials,
Right.
city
But
attorneys.
in-house training
yeah.
is
Mhm.
the EAP.
So, correct, so we have that and it's provided to all of our, employees, they can go on there anytime they want. So there are set things on there already that we can ask for people to go on, and then the EAP provider will let us know if it's been done or not, accomplished by them, because they can print out a certificate for each person. So they do have some on there, it's not just for, development at work, for, inner development, making sure you're a better employee, you're
Right.
more prepared, but it also provides, resources for their personal lives. Everything, like I mentioned, children, parents, elderly, taxes, loss, emotional trauma was the most recent one that they had. So they do have quite a resource that we already do have available.
We have
So
some
I
of these
just,
now? Could we add some of these, or this kind of stuff is in it?
Some
What,
of
the
those,
DEI?
they
Oh,
do
yes.
have some of,
And-
I know they do have customer service skills in there, I looked it up. They do have some other ones.
Okay.
So we can look and see what's already available, and then you can actually just, I can resend the link out as I do on a monthly basis. You can just go on there yourselves, you can see the different webinars. If there is something that you are looking for that they don't have, feel free to let me know, and I can reach out to our customer relations that we have with them to ask if they could come up with something, if others are, municipalities or other organizations that utilize their services might be able to also enjoy.
Okay, thank you.
So I think with the training, DEI, any of the other training, there should be a kind of a portal that, the management has to take this, employees have to take that, so on and so forth. When they finish, they have 30 days to complete, print out a certificate, sign off on it, it
No,
goes in their
so
HR,
what-
it goes in their file.
What the DEI is that's gonna be in person, so it's not.
No, but you still say completed with
Oh,
a
oh,
certificate,
oh, right.
so that goes in the
Oh,
file.
right, definitely.
The same as a new hire, how,
every
how do
new
they
hire.
take it, and what's the
In
timeline?
person.
You have to take it within 30 days, are they gonna be able to do it in person,
It
things
has
like
to-
that.
No, so right now, moving forward, everybody's gonna do it in person, 2.5 days. Thereafter, then it will be a webinar.
Sure,
So that's what I was gonna suggest, and if I
Yes.
could make two suggestions
Yes.
for you to consider. I think alternating, maybe every other second or third year, you go back to in-person,
Yeah.
because I'm just gonna use myself as an example. When I do Zooms, I'm usually multitasking,
Yeah,
and there's things that I'm like, oh, you
Yeah,
don't
I'm okay
absorb
with
as much.
yeah,
yeah,
And I just think you could lose
Yes.
about 50% of your staff in
Yes.
that circumstance, so you
Yeah.
wanna, obviously you can't, drill it into everyone, but you could at least capture as many,
Yep.
of your staff
I
as
agree.
possible.
yeah.
So that's one thing I wanted to suggest. The second thing is about your, incident report. I feel like we're
The
promoting
form
negativity.
Or the,
Well, on both circumstances, so maybe it could just be a form that's online that you could give, a
Feedback.
bad and a good experience, cause we
Okay.
don't wanna just
So-
promote the bad, right?
Sure, sure.
Because we do
yeah,
have
that's the
staff that do
form, that's the
phenomenal.
form that I'm talking about, right.
Right,
But good and bad,
Yeah.
yes, we want it to be
instead of making
positive.
it,
Right, no, right, exactly.
so that we're not just promoting negativity and
Yes.
hearing only
Sure.
the bad stuff.
I
about
agree.
People that our residents experience,
agree.
I
Do
say,
you wanna call it an experience survey?
Yes,
you
Yeah.
could,
Because-
or you could separate it and have two forms, so if you wanna say something good, or you have a bad experience, I don't know, but I
Yeah.
would just like to
Right.
I agree,
suggest that we encourage both,
yes,
you know,
absolutely.
experiences and not just one.
Absolutely.
sure,
Yes, absolutely. So, yeah, we'll have to work on that a little bit.
Mhm.
The main thing is to get a type of form like that into play. We'll definitely.
And you could probably just come up with a QR code too.
Yes.
So
yeah.
for instance, if they go
That's what
and they're at one of
communications
the
told me.
windows,
Yes,
you can do a
communications will
QR code that
create
can
one.
take you to the
Yes.
digital,
Yeah,
digital
we'll have it at the
survey,
front door.
yeah,
If they
incidents.
walk in, out, they can, and that's it. So I've already spoken to communications about that, and they will do a QR code.
I like that idea, Ruth. It could be at the window that they're
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
service,
most
got a
people-
compliment, got a concern.
Yeah.
We'll,
Is
we'll
that
still,
QR
we'll,
code?
we'll still do the form just for the old school people who,
Yeah,
Oh, you-
they'll
No,
still be
absolutely.
available.
We're not
Yeah.
as technology.
Right.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
even me,
A
I'm
little
like, some of them
box
they
and-
work, some of them
yeah.
don't work.
Yeah. And then there's, so a couple things that I just wanna reflect on. I know that there has, I don't know if some folks missed our last administration meeting or not, but there's still question as to that we didn't make any changes to our handbook. And I just wanna clarify that once and for all. Changes were brought forth, we made changes to that handbook. There might have been 20 changes and we did 15. We might have not did all, but we did most of them. Am I correct?
Yeah, some of the language might have
So-
been different,
So-
but we did
And-
review, and we had residential participation in this. We went through kind of line item by line item, and then from there, then it was presented to city council, I believe.
Correct.
For us to say that these are the updates, and as we print a new handbook, we will print it with that, but it's online and it's there, so.
Right.
Correct, so right now at onboarding, all of our employees receive an employee handbook. Within there is the
The addendum.
addendum section,
Mhm.
and it has
Of
a
the
date that it was
changes.
passed at council for November 9th. It's within here, and then they sign off that they received it, and it's up to them to read it. We already have the amended one on our city's website under the HR section, under the onboarding section where it has, that's the updated one. So
Yep.
we updated it electronically, but so we wouldn't have to reprint all the books that were just printed.
Right.
We just did an addendum that's within, and each of our new employees receives it, so
Right.
everyone is aware.
So again, changes were made that were brought forth. It's in the handbook, the addendums, it's on the city website. So November 9th, all council members voted on it. So I just wanted to try to put that to rest, because changes were made. And we'll continuously make changes as deemable to the handbook. So that's that, and then, finally, I just wanted, another thing is, I think that I'm the chair to the administration, right? And when you look at what my job is as the chair, I think that folks were a little confused. The verbiage is a little tricky, but I am not to investigate matters. This committee is not to investigate matters. I will read what our committee is to do. Keep informed of and investigate all matters and proposals relating to city personnel, including but not limited to organization and structure, hiring and disciplinary practices. These are proposals that come up, and then we review them. We are not to, we don't have privy to terminate employees, hire employees. Personnel evaluation processes, personnel policies, the handbook, right? Employee wages and benefits, and shall report and recommend to council from time to time as it seems deemable. Keep informed as to the activities of the city's administration staff and report and recommend to council from time to time. Keep informed and investigate all matters, proposals relating to law department and its activities, and including all matters relating to city insurances, programs, IRMF, vacation, and sick policies. So I don't know if there is some misinformation or misunderstanding on what this committee does, so I just wanted to reiterate that. Also in viewing the standing committees, I noticed that the Human Relations Committee, which I'm on that committee, I'm not the chair, they deal with, some of this stuff that we're currently dealing with. So after reading that description, some of this will also be referred to our Human Relations Committee. And that's all of that.
Okay, so just wanna share some ideas, some recommendations. So one of the biggest things that I think from the testimonies that night that was really powerful and impacted me was when I think it was Miss Butler. She described how at her son's school the word was used, and he even was hit. And I understand the schools are not under our purview, but just as a community as a whole, as like a city of Berwyn, not just employees, what can we do to promote a more inclusive, a more equitable, a more approachable way to the city? Is that maybe we could do a partnership with them? And she did bring up something very important, like maybe just like, I understand there's like a Black History Month, but I don't know if we wanna go towards the Black History Month or something like that. But it would be nice to have maybe an event where we are in partnership with other schools and we promote anti-racism, we promote
That would be communications or.
That would be with the Human Relations.
Human relations.
That would
Yeah.
go to the Human Relations Committee, and then they come let us know, the staff know what they need for support
Okay.
to move forward with anything.
Okay.
So, but, my job is to seek guidance from the mayor and from council members on how you wanna move forward, so I can help implement that with our different departments.
Okay, so that would be.
So, something like that would be more with
But
Human Relations.
You're talking about, events and stuff, that would probably be communications or, cause right, that's what you're talking about, is getting
Well-
everybody together, the schools, the city, you're talking about like events, more events.
Yeah, and maybe not necessarily like, yes, I would say something like a public event where the community's invited, the public's invited, the schools are invited, everyone's invited.
So one big
Just-
event. So
Yeah,
that
yes,
would
just
be-
as a process to heal past this and to be able to
Right.
move past, yeah.
And I think,
To bring people together.
the key thing that we're responsible for the city. We do have other taxing bodies. Everybody kind of does their own thing when it comes to how they work this
Right.
situation or community events, things like that. It's really not something that this committee here would look at. We want to look at recommending policies and procedures and training that's gonna make us whole in the city. That we've had some gaps there. We've noticed there's gaps. Obviously that the situation at hand has brought out some gaps. We have been looking at training for the last several months, but it didn't happen fast enough. So I think that that's what this unit's
Yes.
looking at. Community as a whole, when it comes to events and things like that, and, education on different, the schools and things like that. That's something the community has to look at and work together on, because we're always gonna have an issue here and there, and that's where everybody's gotta address it.
I
So,
just think it's important for the cities to show leadership in this. And then whether it be our committee or whether it be another committee, it would be beautiful to see the city step forward and say, hey, let's do this.
I would
And we
recommend-
really look at it too, where some different schools say, if
Right.
it's schools or if it's a city or whoever, everybody has different training programs. We should look at what training, the schools have for the teachers and for faculty and all that. So we can look at it to see if we're all kind of in the same boat of what type of training we do. I think that's very important.
So I would recommend something that went to the Human Relations, because the first thing that they're in charge of is providing programs to educate the community.
Okay. Perfect.
So, eliminate discrimination, promote goodwill among all persons. So if anywhere, it
That's
should
why,
start there,
yeah, really
so they can
is.
figure out what sort of program they wanna look at,
Right.
and then see how we need to incorporate that with the other government bodies, be it with the township, health
Right.
districts, school boards. But that would start with them to
Right.
really identify what program, what, aspects that they want to stress with that,
Right.
and then figure out how to execute it, And then that's when they would bring me in, and then I could inform them on what our different resources here are with the city that could help accomplish that.
Yes, no, as you mentioned, there's gonna be things in the human relations
Right.
committee that
And I'm on that
we're
committee.
gonna work,
too,
oh, okay,
Yeah.
good, perfect.
So you can make a recommendation to them,
Absolutely.
that could be one of,
Mhm.
a line item in your communication.
Yeah. You were gonna say something else?
No, just that, but if you
Yeah.
wanted to add
Right.
that to your bullet points,
Yes.
communication.
Yep. And I will. Okay, so nothing else? Adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who's the committee chair?
Oh, but I put them on.
They don't have